Good day and welcome to another broadcast of Global Capital Inc. online radio and television. Over the last few years, we have 100 companies in the world. And what we have found out is very amusing. We have been able to document most of those data into a number of theses. Today, I will be talking to you about business success ecosystem. And the question you might want to ask yourself, if understanding these ecosystems guarantee your business success. My belief is yes, but I encourage you to join me in this conversation so you can be a judge for yourself. Coming out of those research that was done between Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York, we have not only developed the business success ecosystem, we have also developed the business value proposition 101 and the 10X wealth leadership blueprint. And I want to assure you, it is our general belief that any business that commits its time, talent, and resources to understand the ecosystem, to understand the business value proposition 101, to understand the 10X wealth leadership blueprint, stands a much greater chance to build a brand that has local, regional, and international relevance and position that brand to compete and win globally. In the event that you're joining me for the first time, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published best-selling author for several books, including Manager's Toolkit and Billionaire Code. My most recent book is titled 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint. And of course, in this blueprint, you're going to be having most of these ecosystems that you can now learn, apply, and master to grow a strong brand. Now, today we're going to be talking about business success ecosystem, and do permit me to walk through some of them. I am just going to do a high level overview, but I'm not going to go very much deep into it. So let's start our conversation. One of the first ecosystem that is important for you to recognize when you're into business is the communication media ecosystem. Now, here is where we see hundreds of thousands of businesses, they fall down because the fact that they are never able to effectively leverage the communication media ecosystem. And just let's talk about this a little bit. The costs associated with advertising and public relations is one of the major factors that we're seeing that are preventing brands that can survive and strive are not being able to do so because of the high cost associated with building out communication content. And think about this. Communication media ecosystem allows you to filter your information to reach your specific target market, to create, ensure that the brand is building out visibility, ensure that the brand is reaching the target market, to ensure that the brand is making impact with your target market, to ensure that the brand is converting, to ensure that you are able now to convert first-time users into lifetime customers, to ensure that you're building confidence and trust and credibility in the eyes of the customer. Now, in the absence of understanding the important role that the communication media ecosystem plays in this role, and building out the branding and marketing department to be able to leverage this opportunity, it puts you, your business, and your brand at a major disadvantage. There's so much more to look at here. All right. On this platform, we talk about building out the communication and marketing content. All right. Where you're working with your advertising copywriter. And in this particular case, it's not just having someone simply write your commercial or develop your radio, television, newspaper commercial. That person must be able to take the time to understand your target market, to understand their needs, wants, and expectations, and to take all of these factors into consideration when they're now attempting to build out the communication content. That content now has to be filtered in to what we call the communication media ecosystem. And by this, we mean what is the radio ecosystem that you're using? How effective it is. It's allowing you to reach your target audience, your specific target audience. It's allowing you to convert these. So much has to be done here. The bigger companies, the top 100 companies, I want to show you, they have this information and they're leveraging it to their advantage. As I said today, I'm just giving a high level of view. At another date, I will go deeper into these ecosystems to really help you to understand the importance of it. The essence of what I'm saying, you can have a strong business, a strong brand, but if you're not leveraging radio, television, newspaper as a part of your ecosystem, if you're not leveraging the social media platform as a part of your ecosystem, it is most likely that you are not going to succeed. Or if you're making some degree of cash flow, if you're not leveraging these ecosystems well enough, it simply means that you may not be leaving crumbs on the table, but you may be leaving a whole pie of that cake on the table. So understanding this ecosystem, the communication media ecosystem, understanding how it works, it can really set the stage to give your business a tremendous competitive advantage. The next ecosystem that I want to talk about is the visionary and proactive leaders and ecosystem. Now, this is important. We talk about visionary and proactive leaders and ecosystem. Now, what this is talking about, it is talking about three types of visionary. We are talking about the global visionaries. We talked about the social entrepreneurs. And these are important elements of the visionary aspect of leadership that must be understood. But we move over to what we call the proactive leadership. And this is an ecosystem that you need to understand. Because the proactive leader, they have three essential characteristics. One, they think ahead. Two, they see beyond problems. And three, they're able to take informed action to achieve desired results. In doing business, you need to know that you have the product innovation team that is thinking ahead. All right. They are savvy with technology. They're keeping abreast of relevant technological development. And they're adopting the organization to respond to those technical, you know, development that is taking place. Along with keeping abreast with relevant technological development, it is also important to not only keep abreast of it, but is it possible that you can play a game in this space where you now become the game changer, dream makers, and trendsetters when it comes to filling out technology that is unique to your portfolio and leveraging technology that is unique to your portfolio to ensure that you give your business and your brand the competitive advantage. This is what we call the visionary thinking. All right. You want to be global in the way you think. You want to be transformational in the way the way you think. You want to be that social entrepreneur in the way that you think. These are things that we'll go much deeper into to ensure that you understand it, you can adopt it and apply it to ensure that you're giving your business and your brand that competitive advantage. All right. So again, I'm just giving you surface information in terms of the ecosystem. But every organization, you need the forward thinkers in your organization. You need to have the leaders who are seeing beyond the problems and the leaders who are able to take informed action to achieve desired results. We have built out an ecosystem that really enable you and your team to learn, apply, and master these systems in the interest of obtaining the competitive advantage in business. I will move to look at the third ecosystem that we're going to call the corporate culture and the business value proposition ecosystem. I've often talked about this ecosystem, and what we're saying to you is that you need to have a unique corporate culture. Corporate culture is different, and there's 1,001 ways to build out your corporate culture. But that corporate culture at the end of the day must be able to impact 4 levels of the organization. Your corporate culture, your business value proposition must be able to impact the workforce. Why? Because absenteeism and staff turnover affects the ability of the business to cash flow. Your value proposition must be able to impact the specific target market. Why? Because it is your ability to impact the specific target market that is going to ultimately allow the business to cash flow. The value proposition, your corporate culture must be able to impact the general public. Why? Because the fact that it is from the general public that you would like to get referrals. All right. The public might become your biggest cheerleaders. They may never use your product, but they have confidence and trust in your brand, and they continue to refer others to use your brand. Your brand may not necessarily be relevant to them, but because they understand your ethics, your corporate culture, your value proposition, they refer others to you. This ultimately will have tremendous impact on your business to cash flow. So these ecosystems that I'm really introducing that we have researched, we have developed at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding Marketing LLC out of New York, they are very significant to helping your business to scale and grow with local, regional, and international relevance. The next ecosystem that I want to talk about now, the fourth ecosystem, is what we call the team dynamics and the team management ecosystem. Now, here is where you're asking yourself, if you're attracting people based on, traditional factors, or if you're attracting people to the organization based on their ability to perform. So it's absolutely necessary for you to take the time to ensure that you have the right team dynamics to function in the organization. And let me point out one of the challenges that we have seen among developing companies. As you begin to interface with micro, small, medium, and some large businesses, what stands out is the need for capital. And the question that we always ask, your team dynamics, is there anyone within the team dynamics that has the right know-how, the right skill set to help the organization to rise above the challenges? Remember earlier I talked about the proactive leadership. And here is where you have leaders that are thinking ahead. You're seeing beyond problems, and you're taking informed action to achieve desired results. In this particular case, is we deal with capital. Traditionally, we are seeing a lot of companies who are stuck with debt capital. But among your team dynamics, do you have someone that is speaking to you about about debt capital and how to mitigate this process? Do you have someone within your team dynamics that is speaking to you about, equity and credit and smart capital? Absolutely necessary platforms and team players that you need to have in your team dynamics. It's absolutely necessary to compete and win in today's world. The top 100 companies, while they're established, they're still leveraging all of these platforms as a smart means to grow, diversify, scale, compete and win locally, regionally, and internationally. And as we go deeper into these lessons, we want to transfer this body of knowledge to you so you know exactly how to apply these techniques to grow your business with global relevance. Now, the next ecosystem that I want us to look at, the fifth ecosystem, is what we're going to call the market research and market intelligence ecosystem. And we at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding Marketing LLC out of New York, we cannot overemphasize the importance of market research and market intelligence. It is from market research that you understand your target market. It is from market research you understand the size of your market. It is from market research you can predetermine the viability of that market. It is from market research you can predetermine the potential of that market of cash flow. And every business, you want to be in the know when it comes to understanding your target market, their needs, wants, and expectation, and understanding the ability of that market to cash flow. This knowledge is what literally informs your annual financial projections. Without this knowledge, you're doing the guesswork. And in doing business, it's important that you get the guesswork out of doing business. So it's how do you take these market data and make it into market intelligence and ensure that your team dynamics understand how to up-level this into a cash flowing machine. These are things that we go into as we get into this ecosystem to really ensure that you're doing business in smarter ways. The next ecosystem, the sixth ecosystem that I want us to look at here is what we call capital markets and business cash flow ecosystem. Now, this is pretty interesting because traditionally what we're seeing is that businesses cash flow. But today I'm going to speak to you about things to look at in terms of the business cash flow. You cash flow from we call the primary business activity. But is there a smarter way to cash flow that operation? Stay with me. Now, we're talking about capital markets and business cash flow ecosystem. When we speak of capital markets, we are talking about the importance of, among your team dynamics, that you understand debt capital. And not only understand debt capital from what is available, all right, the portfolio that exists, but it's to understand how to access that debt portfolio, how to leverage the debt portfolio, and how to mitigate that. And this is it's an important talking point that businesses across the world need to take the time to understand. It's not important to say, I want the capital, all right, to use in my business. But it's important for you to identify smarter ways of leveraging capital. This applies to debt capital, it applies to equity capital, it applies to credit capital. And of course, it's important among your team dynamics that you have someone that is a specialist in looking at smart capital market leverage. This is the kind of market that if you understand which one to leverage, you can raise hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in capital without monthly debt obligation and without equity or credit obligations. So as we go deeper again, I will bring this information to you. Traditionally, again, we see that when you make a profit, you deposit your profits into a 0.1% interest bearing account. Beautiful. But what if I say to you that there are smarter ways in which you can up-level the potential of that excess liquidity to cash flow? Smart companies across the world do this all the time. And it is exactly from this portfolio we are able to find high net worth individuals and super high net worth individuals who are taking their excess liquidity to put it on the asset management. It allows them to cash flow way beyond that 0.1% interest. And in special cases, in cases that passive income cash flow, all right, can give you more than the business itself is giving you. So these are important things for you to understand as we focus on the capital market and the business cash flow ecosystem. Even business need to understand financial intelligence and how not to leave not just the crumbs on the table, but three-quarters of the cake on the desk. These programs, understanding these ecosystems, really helps you to understand how to better position yourself to apply these new techniques in doing business. The last ecosystem I'm going to add today is what we call the economic system ecosystem. Economic systems ecosystem. Now, this is important because depending on the economic system in which you're doing business, it influences the business ability to ebb and flow. For example, a planned economic system is different from a mixed economic system and an open economic system. But while you can see these clear differences here, it's also important to recognize that even in systems that is considered to be a mixed economic system or open economic system, that the right enablers are there. And if you've been following me, we have talked about a range of those enablers. We have government entities and government institutions as a part of enablers. We have trade association and chambers of commerce as part of the enablers. We have the specific target market as part of the enablers. We have SBOs, BSOs, business support organizations that are a part of the SBOs. And all of these institutions has to be functioning in alignment with our vision for growth. And when they're not, you need to recognize it, all right? Recognize it and understand. Take the time to figure out how to navigate it, interface with it, cut around it. Because of course, when these enablers in its structure says this, but in its action, it is completely different from what the constitutionally set up how it is constitutionally set up to function. It can create impediment to doing business. The last thing that you want is that political ideologies are preventing you from growing, diversifying, and scaling with local, regional, and international relevance. The last thing that you want is institutional favoritism to prevent you from scaling the way that you are naturally supposed to be scaling. When these things exist, it's important to recognize it and then put yourself in that position of strength where you can make an informed and educated decision as to how you're going to treat it. Do you call it out or do you find a way to work around it? These are important talking points that we will go deep into as we begin to explore these ecosystems that ultimately influence your business success. My promise to you is that you work with us. We're so confident about these ecosystem-based research we're doing based on the system that we have developed. The thesis that we have now incorporated into our last book, the 10X Branded and Marketing Blueprint Business Ecosystem, we're confident about it. We really want to encourage you to connect with us so we can share this body of knowledge to you. There's so much more to talk about. Today, we look at business success ecosystem. We look at 7 of those ecosystems. We look at the communication media ecosystem. We look at the visionary and proactive leaders leadership ecosystem. We look at the corporate culture and business value proposition ecosystem. We look at the team dynamics and team management ecosystem. We also look at market research and market intelligence ecosystem. We look at capital markets and business cash flow ecosystem. Last but not least, we look at economic systems ecosystem. And I want to say this to you, every single bit of this information that we're going to be giving to you, they are built strategically for business. You have to use it in the everyday life of your business. We have taken away all of the unnecessaries and we have built out these ecosystems in a manner that it is applicable within the shortest possible time to help you to quickly understand where your business is at, where you want to go, and perhaps identify those factors that are preventing you to get there, but we also give you the tools and ensure that we help you to get you there faster. I must also say that a lot of these systems, again, the internalization, the application, the mastery of these systems, some of them I'm going to show is going to be a little capital intensive, but we are here to work with you through this entire process. All right? We will talk to you about net 30, 60, net 60, net 90s. All in the interest of ensuring that we're helping you to get that full start. Now, I want to also say this to you. Global Capital Inc., we specialize in everything financial leadership, financial management, wealth management. We specialize in this area. We have a team of dynamic persons to work with you here. On the other hand, 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York, we specialize in everything branded and marketed. All right, we can handle your radio, television, newspaper, commercial, the market research. We can handle the public relation and the integration of your brand across region and across the world. We have a team of persons here also that are ready, willing, and able with years of experience to ensure that we give you the technical support to move your business, your brand, your idea forward. So without hesitation, I want to encourage you to reach out to us. Use the number at the bottom of the screen and let's have that conversation. All right? All right. Remember, if you're in business and you intend to get into business, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. Press that notification bell on YouTube, so you will be the first to get this information that we bring it to you on a regular basis. Be blessed and see you in the next